Hey, good morning everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss Pre-Market Report for February 7th, 2018. I'm Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. We have now seen a couple of back-to-back incredibly large days, and that's after Friday's major day here. So if you look here at the ES, a big day on Friday, down big. It was a 75, almost 76 point day. Monday, 167 points of range. Tuesday, 170 points of range. Today, 37 points of range. So right now, we've had an incredible sell-off. We've dropped down as low as 25.29 and bounced. And this bounce has taken us very, very close to getting that midpoint here, 27.0375 of the impulse sell-off. Remember, that midpoint's very important. For all intents and purposes, we basically got it. We don't have to reach it for it to be a key range. This is clearly an impulse sell-off with a great bounce and key range setup. So now we have important levels to watch where the market can now do business for quite a long time. Again, this could be the new range where we do business for many, many months. And then eventually we could see another round of expansion out of it. But we'll continue to watch this key range. Again, 27.0375 is going to solidify that key range and that midpoint. So keep an eye on that. Today, so far, low range day. You got the edges back toward 2660 and 2695, 96, and it could be a fade the edges type of day. And after major movement like that, you tend to see the market settle down just a little bit here as it digests the new normal. So we'll continue to watch this area here. Again, 27.0375 is the one to watch on that end. For a test here, if you look at the NQ, very similar. Here's the NQ. We have reached the midpoint, 66.5375. That gives us a new key range to watch. 70.47 quarter is the top end of the range, and then down here toward the bottom, you're going to have the bottom end of the range at 62.60 quarter. So a nice impulse sell-off here, key range development. And again, that could be our key range for quite a long time before we see any movement outside that range. So we'll continue to watch this very closely. If we take a look at crude oil here, this one has obviously been holding on a little bit stronger than some of the others in the energy futures, like a heating oil, for example, RB. All of those kind of pulling back a lot more, and crude is right on the cusp here. 62.5. We talked about that LVN. We talked about lows below that 62.78 low here. Remember, last time we were looking for a buy here, and we were looking for a bounce here as well. But once we failed here, I mentioned that we might come back and test these lows, and that could offer one final bounce back up. But any failure to hold that LVN opens up a return back down toward 58.75. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on this as well. The LVN coming into view here. Take a look here at gold futures. Gold looks very similar to crude. Very similar. This one also showing some weakness. Failed new high yesterday. You can see today opens, rallies up here to the bottom of the pivot range and back down again. Those are very short-term bearish indications there. And again, any failure to reestablish itself back above, say, 34s could open up a continuation into this lower LVN here. That's 1306.60, and that could provide a short-term bounce opportunity back toward 1330. So again, this looking short-term bearish right now, and 1334 a key level to watch short-term. Lastly, let's take a look at XBT. XBT here, this is Bitcoin futures. Price dropped down into our 6,700 target. You can see here below the low, the lowest low here, 58.80. 58.80, and then it bounced and formed another rejection tail. This is very similar to this price action here and also this price action right here. And I mentioned yesterday that given the fact that we have now tested prices at 6,700, and now we're starting to form some rejection, that we could see a bounce back toward 10K. And that's a pretty decent bounce. Remember, you're going from 58.80 to 10K, almost a double. And then once it gets to 10K, that could be a significant area for bears to defend. If there's any inability to get beyond that zone, we could be dumping lower again to the next downside key level, and that's 2100. So I don't want to say we're going to 2100 just yet. We got to see how the responsive participants react here. So far, a little bit of a bounce, but this has been increasingly bearish. You can see the 8-period moving average dropping steadily. We've had this thing as a sell opportunity since about right there. And this one was for a move into 9,000. And then when this occurred right here, we were looking for the stops to get run again for 6,700. So now what we're looking for is for a bounce back toward 10K. And then there might be another defense opportunity for a run even lower. So again, these key levels have been very, very clear in Bitcoin, and we've seen a lot of great activity off them. So we'll continue to watch these levels. All right, that's it for now. Let's see how these play out heading into the rest of the session. Good luck and trade well.